Unfortunately, I have a mess going up through the wood yard here. And you can see I've got mud. Honestly, I've never seen it quite this bad. Down below where the truck's sitting, I put number 3 stone, I believe it was, so 3-inch gravel. And then I went over it with 2-inch gravel. I think I'm going to have to do that up through here. And as a matter of fact, I think this cherry tree is going to have to come down. Because it'd be real nice to be able to back up in here, open this area up, give me more places to dump the dump trailer. This was as far as I could get the day I dumped that trailer load. The day that I dumped those logs up there, that day it was frozen. I want to get this pile here. This is that oak and black birch that I cut at my buddy's place. And then the maple came from my dad's place, which you're going to see me cutting on here in a minute because I'm not doing this in chronological order. I got some oak over here. This is mostly oak. It's been here a while. I got to get it cut up. I just haven't had time. I did take care of some of the big rounds when we had that first Brute Force 2024 here in the wood yard. I've got some ash, and most of this isn't going to be any good, but there is some good in it, so I'm at least going to split it up. If it's real bad, it'll go in the burn pile. If it's usable but not for bundle wood, I'll probably just give it away. So I got to get some logs in here. Yeah, I'm running low on logs. This is about as low as I've ever gotten. I have some cherry up there by the truck as well. Anyway, I have something to show you today, and I am really excited about it. I think you guys will enjoy this. Well, let's get to it. I'll stop talking about it and we'll get to it. I've been dying to get these things into a piece of wood. So behind me, I'll step aside, I've got a decent sized maple here. I'm gonna say that's probably approaching 30 inches. And we're gonna try this out with the 592. We're gonna see how it goes through this piece of wood. So here we go. Just to show you this 28-inch bar. It's about 28 inches. So should be able to get through it. There we go, initial cut. Wow. That is fast. So, I mean, you saw how quick that went through that, and I mean, it was really spraying the chips out. But I think I definitely have a very fast cutting saw there. So what I'm going to do, I warmed up the 572 a little bit earlier, but I'm going to let it run a minute. Come back, I'll make another cut on this. All right, here we go, 572. As you know, 72cc saw. And we're going to see how this feels compared to my 372. It's probably about a half of a horsepower more power. I would say that has a little bit more snot than my 372. It's not a ton more, and maybe I'm feeling that just because I just ran that 592, and you saw how fast that went through that piece of wood. It's lighter, seems anyway. Of course, I got the light bar on there, and I'm still battling this cold. So I apologize. I bought that light bar at the Paul Bunyan show, and I was going to put it on my 372. And I kept putting it off for one reason or another. I was sort of thinking, I'll just wait till I put a new chain on. Well, this came with a 20-inch bar, and I knew I wasn't going to run a 20-inch on there. So So I grabbed that light bar out. It's a nice match with that 572. I'm real excited about this, but I'll tell you the story. One of my firewood customers is a husky dealer. And he and I had talked about me buying a 592, and I was talking about a 572 to have another 70cc saw in case something happened. Because it's, you know, between the 372 and the 550, they're the two saws I use the most probably. I mean, certainly when I'm felling trees, I sometimes use that top handle quite a bit in limbing, but you know, cutting here in the wood yard, it's always one of those two. And the 572 offers some advantages. So anyway, he called me up and he said, hey, he says, the company I work for, they've done a deal with Steel and they're going to replace Husky in our stores. He said, if you've ever really been serious about buying one of those saws, he said, you ought to let me know now. Because I'm not sure that he wants me to share the pricing, I won't. But let's just say I got these saws at an incredible discount. I was going to just buy one, and lovely Lisa told me, you only come home with one chainsaw. And as I was there, I thought, I'm never going to see this pricing again. I just thought it was a deal I couldn't pass up. But the 592, a little heavy, you know, it'll take some getting used to, but it's very well balanced. That's the one thing I've noticed about it. I'm really anxious to take a tree down with it, and depending on the weather, I may start on those hickory trees that I mentioned in a couple of videos ago, see how it does against some shagbark hickory. 572, that's the saw I really kind of wanted. I had even considered a 500i. That was in the back of my mind, maybe I should just do that. But when this deal came along, I just couldn't pass it up. Anyway, I hope you'll tune in when we can get into some big wood and really test this thing out. I think while I'm down here, I may buck up some more of this. I think I want to try that 592 some more. I want to maybe finish off this big log. So one of the things I like about this saw is just how good it sounds. I mean, it really sounds good. Kind of sounds like a snowmobile. Husky did a good job of increasing the size of the dogs on it. You'll be able to dog in real good with this saw. Wants to roll on me. So that made very light work out of that big log. I think I like it. I think lovely Lisa's gonna kill me. Boy, I tell you what, that was fun. So anyway, I mentioned early in the video I have some cherry down here. Pretty good sized log. Actually, two good sized logs. I got that up at my dad's house. Did a video on that. I can link to that video in case you're interested. But I thought maybe you want to take a look at these saws here one last time, just to get an idea. I talked about them, but this is that light bar from Husky. You can actually see, I'll try to get close enough, maybe give it an angle here. You can see the little cutouts. It's a Sugihara bar. This was just done for a Husky. They did a deal. Tell you what, nice saw. I would tell anyone that's looking for a chainsaw, this this is well worth your money. And then the big boy over here, the 592 XP. You know, some of the things that, you know, Husky's gone to these flip caps. That is so much nicer. The old ones you had to get your scrunch out and use. These little pop top to get at your air cleaner, spark plug, whatever. Easy enough with a scrunch, just pop those open, pocket knife or whatever. I mentioned while I was cutting, they have increased the size of the dogs on these. Try to give you a good look at that. Husky's been accused of not having good sized dogs on their saws, and I somewhat agree with that when you get in the smaller saws. I'll tell you, my 372 works great, and no complaints whatsoever there. This one, though, I noticed the dog is only on the inside, so I've got to ask him if that's correct or if I'm just missing a piece here. Maybe it wasn't assembled correctly, because I can see where it's supposed to mount. So we'll have to figure that out. But I mentioned 28-inch bar, X-cut chain. I think it's the C83 if I'm not mistaken. The one thing I'm disappointed about, you guys have heard me complain about this in the past, I like the bars that you can grease. And at some point I will probably replace this bar with one that can be greased. There's differing opinions on that. And I know if I keep that bar rail clean, the oil gets up there and it's not a problem. I get it. I just like the idea that the grease pushes dirt out of that sprocket. And if you're just conscious of doing that every time you fill up, you're pushing that dirt out. It has the see-through glass. They both have that to see your fuel. That is a nice feature. I have that on my 550. I love it. This is pretty simple. You pull out and pull up, and that's choke. That is run. When the saw's warm, you don't have to do anything with that. Just pull the cord. It has the captive bar nuts, which was a nice feature that Husky incorporated a few years ago. I believe Steel had those for quite a while before Husky did. Some other thoughts now that I've run the saw a little bit. Vibration is not bad at all. As a matter of fact, I would say my 372 vibrates more than that saw does. Incredibly powerful. When you sink that in the wood, you know you have a hold of something. 572, great all-around saw. I'm sure I will use that more than the 592, but boy, for felling, that 592 is going to be great. So anyway, I'm not going to belabor this anymore. It's starting to get dark. You're probably seeing that. It probably looks better on camera than it does to me. Thank you for watching. I plan on showing you these saws. I also bought something else at the Husky sale, but I'll save that for another video. Anyway, that's all for me today. That's all for Woodruff Woods, and we'll catch you on the next one. How you doing, buddy? Hey, got a favor to ask. Lovely Lisa threw me out. You have room for me to crash? Maybe someplace I can put two saws?